Welcome to the test kitchen, the Zoom test kitchen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my Lord, do we have a day today of exciting things to be looking at and talking about. There is so much new. I couldn't be more excited. We're gonna say hello to everyone. Oh my goodness, I can't believe Grant is here. He did the most amazing job navigating all of us through NAB over the past week. That was stunning, Grant. Thank you so much for that. Just quick program note before we say hellos that next week I will be able to show everyone fully what the integration, the Zoom integration into Ecamm looks like. I've been on the alpha now for a while, and it's really, really nice. It's going into beta on Monday. And it's really, really nice. So I'll be able to share that for them. And they've already updated to the new SDK. So it already looks like the 6.0 version, which is really sweet. Let's say hello real quick. Mr. Franklin, how you doing?
Greetings, David. Everything's well. We're excited. Nice day here in Florida.
Yes, it is. Good to see you. Hasmuk, how are you? I see the chef behind you. How you doing? Good to see you. Mike, how are you, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Not 100%, a little under the weather, but I'm here to see what you guys are going to blow up today.
Well, Zoom will make you feel better. 6.0, baby. Actually, 6.0.2 if you're on a Mac. 6.0.
Yes, and that just released on Windows within the last half hour, I'm going to say.
Yeah, very quickly.
I just checked before.
Absolutely. Grant, how are you, sir?
Hey, David, it's great to be here. I watch the show a lot, and I always try, it's always on my list. I'm like, oh, I really want to get there. And it just worked out today that I have another show that I have to monitor at the same time. And I was like, if I have to be awake at 4 a.m., then I might as well come on the kitchen.
Oh my goodness. Aye.
So yeah, it was NAV was really awesome, but I was like, what better day to come on, and just to observe you guys. I really appreciate what you do, and I was what better day to come on than when you start ripping apart version 6, right?
Yeah. It really, the NAB coverage, the way you sort of really navigated that it was just beautiful. It really was. I'm really grateful to you. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you. It was fun. I mean, the whole team, the office hours crew that were on site, and then the panel, was it was a unique thing, that we were trying something new, and to bring a Zoom meeting to a booth, I think was game changing. You know, the guys were talking about it on office hours this morning, where it was that there was something different it was kind of comforting. You'd go to a booth and they'd see this monstrous, camera rig, and as soon as they saw that it was just a Zoom meeting on this monitor, they were relaxed. They were like, "Oh, I know a Zoom meeting. I can do a Zoom meeting." If it felt like it was some big TV broadcast or something, and I've got to put on my TV voice or I've got to do something, it was like that becomes overwhelming. But the fact that they could just see the gallery view, and by kind of day three, they had the multi speaker view, of version 6, so it was even better, right? And so they saw that and they just relaxed and they're like, yeah, I can do that. And they were talking too about there was something different about having an interviewer normally, who was standing there. Inevitably someone would pick up a product, in the past. They'd pick up a product and they'd show it to the interviewer. Whereas what naturally happened with what we were doing is they showed it to the camera. And it was like, because that's where we were, right? And so it was a way better experience for the audience. It was a better experience for us, because then we were saying, oh, can you move the camera or whatever else? And it was all, because of Zoom. But also having Andy on site as well, doing a bunch of stuff. It was a big deal. Andy could have chosen to have their own booth like they have in other events. They could have had their own booth. They could have been showing off, Zoom Rooms Pro AV, all of that stuff. But they chose to sit behind office hours and play around with a whole bunch of stuff. And seeing the tiles thing, I don't know if you're going to be able to.
We haven't
talk through
seen it
tiles
yet.
as well.
It's not out yet.
I know, but did you see the little demo he did with us?
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. It was like, oh, and it auto rotates through the gallery. Oh man, that's cool. So
Yeah, we'll jump it. We'll talk a little bit about tiles also. And what you said about how people just relaxed because they saw it was a Zoom meeting. That's why vMix, Mimo Live, Ecamm. That's why all these tools are just building Zoom right in, because it's the platform that people know, they trust, they can relax. It's it allows us to focus on the conversation, which is what it's all about.
I
So
totally agree. When vMix, vMix call, things like that, and I think all of them you just mentioned all have some sort of way of getting a remote presenter in a WebRTC, join through a browser, and you just click this link and enable it. And it seems always so simple for the average user, but inevitably they get caught somewhere and it's unfamiliar and and they're not quite sure. But you just say, just join this Zoom meeting.
exactly.
And then we'll do the complexity on our side to get it into the program of choice.
Right.
It's huge. It's become the de facto, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. Really, really nice to have you here, Grant. Boy, there are lots of other faces here. Okay, we're gonna go quickly. Pete, how are you?
I'm good. It's sunny and warm here in Portland, Maine, on the East Coast.
Sunny and warm. Hey, what's the name? What's the Kekamangas? Is that in Maine?
Mangus Highway.
Is that in
Kankamangas.
Maine?
Yeah, it's up north.
Kankamangas. All right, I was thinking about it today. I drove down it once. Okay,
We have
thank you.
we have some other names for it, but I won't mention it here.
Oh gosh. Okay, Mr. Frank, he has no more secrets from us, my friends.
Good day. No, not right now.
We're all in on the secret. It's really good to see you, Frank.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us as always.
Let's
Jason,
go.
how are you, sir?
Good to be with you.
Good to see you, sir, from the news desk. Bobby, I know you have an ISO question for us. Let me just make the rounds here and we're going to come right back to you, okay?
Thank you.
I'm not sure that any of us will have the answer, but we
I don't
love
know,
the
just-
questions.
Thanks anyway.
John, how are you? Oh, John looks frozen. Oh, no, he's not.
I always
just
wait
being
2
very
seconds because there's always
still.
a second John.
No, you're the John. You're the John.
After all those threats about features being taken away, I can announce that only 2 of my events were completely ruined by the Zoom upgrades, but we fixed it.
Oh, no. I am sorry. I'm sorry. It's destined to happen. Lois, how are you?
I am well, but I have a bone to pick with this Zoom with the changes they made. So
Oh, you're not the only
sometime,
one. There are a few
yeah,
people. Yeah.
I need to figure out how to tell them this isn't working, but I don't know how to do that. And my
Well,
friends don't know how to do that. So I'll ask you that question later.
let's first define what's not working. That's but we'll get there, I promise. Tamara, how are you?
Hello, sir. I am good.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And Andre, this is very spooky. Andre,
I'm sorry. I'm sitting here in the dark. It's late.
it's really good to have you
Yeah.
here, Andre.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm very interested in what we will discover today.
Yes. So let's dive in, folks. Let's dive in. So just a quick overview. If you're watching on YouTube and you have no idea what we're talking about, Zoom on Monday released Zoom 6.0, which now is officially Zoom Workplace. So even the app on your computer is no longer called Zoom, it's called Zoom Workplace. They also updated ZoomOSC, ZoomISO. They didn't release, but they teased Zoom Tiles. The big release, I think, in ZoomOSC, ZoomISO, or at least one of the big releases there, is the fact that those are all now bundled in any events account. If you have any events account, including the cheapest possible one, which is what I bought on Monday afternoon, you now have full access to the pro versions of ISO and OSC, and you will get the titles beta when that's available. But let's start in vanilla Zoom. So I'm going to just bring up here. This is the new, oh, we're going to get the infinity. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. How do I show you? How can I show this to you? Let me see how I can show this to you without getting the infinity. You think I could figure this out? Let's see here. Because we want to show, oh, here we go. I can do it this way. I want to show you the new interface, and then we can kind of pick apart what we like, what we don't like. Give me a moment here. All right. So now hopefully you're not getting the infinity. Are we good now?
We're
Okay,
good.
fantastic. So this is the new interface. This is not the only part of the new interface, because I can come right up here to set meeting wallpaper. I created before this meeting a wallpaper that has our Zoom Test Kitchen colors in it. And I can click that. And now you can see probably a somewhat annoying wallpaper with our ZTK logo all around it. We can change the transparency, which kind of, I think the idea is it's meant to have all of us blend in a little bit to the background. This is all virtual background kind of stuff. So it's cutting us out and putting us in front of, this little transparency that I'm doing. And it says very clearly, may not work for all participants. And if you're not on the older version of, if you're on an older version of Zoom, you're not going to see how this affects. But I would never choose to use the background transparency, but I have arranged for my meetings to have a wallpaper. Incidentally, these are not sticky. So you cannot say, please open all of my, this meeting with this wallpaper. I asked about that, and there are some, it's a security piece that they have to work through, security and permissions piece that they have to work through in order to get
David,
that.
I hear from YouTube, the feed isn't showing the other wallpaper. It's interesting.
So you know what?
And I'm looking
really,
at the feed now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'm
Ray.
really glad you said that. Like with recording, a lot of these features don't go out to live streaming and recording. Thank you. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. Good
Ray
call.
Harwell via
Yep. Excellent call.
YouTube.
Excellent call. So since no one else is seeing it, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off if it's okay, because that one's a little annoying that I made. So let's just, before we start bashing, John, take a deep breath. I promise we'll get there. Let's talk about the overall look. I mean, actually, before we do that, let me turn on the new multi-speaker. See, now we're going to get the infinity because I'm the one talking, but that's okay. If someone else talks, you'll see that they'll jump up there. Ray, do you want to say something?
I'm always happy to talk, David. You know that, even if
I-
it's just for the cause.
Right. So there we go.
Look at
So now
that.
we're getting right now. One of the things that I was in a meeting the other day and I was using this, and I haven't quite figured out how it's making the decisions it's making. You know, at what point do I bring someone up? At what point do I kick someone off? For example, Ray's been sitting here now for, half a minute and hasn't said anything, and he's still sitting there. At what point does it go back to a single person? I haven't figured that out yet.
Until Frank speaks.
What is this feature called?
So this is called multi-speaker. By the way, Mike, I'd be interested to know if anyone on YouTube is seeing multi-speaker. Well, no,
No,
I take that back. Sorry, they're seeing it because that's what I'm only showing them one
Yep.
camera. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
They're seeing you. Correct.
Right. Sorry about that. So if you go up to view in the top right-hand corner, oh, by the way, speaking of top right-hand corner, a whole bunch of this other stuff moved. So the little shield moved, the original sound, that button that used to be over here on the left, that moved. So all that stuff is on the right here. And now you, at least on the Mac, you just have your close, minimize, full screen tabs. But if you click on view, and this has always been up here, you now have speaker view, gallery view, multi-speaker view, and immersive view. So
YouTube is seeing this now.
well, yeah, that's because I'm sharing my own personal
Gotcha.
feed out.
An immersive view is not.
Oh, now look at
I
that.
can see.
So I know okay, so that was interesting what just happened. Sorry,
Lois
Lois.
did it.
No, so you had literally just finished speaking. You were kicked off. I went full screen, and then when Lois said something, let's get Pete up here because he raised his hand, and we'll see what happens.
So the question I have is, you're talking about these new views. I only see speaker and gallery on this end.
Are you up to 6.0.2?
Well, I'm going to have to
And do you
check
have it
that.
enabled on the? Is this something you have to enable on the back end?
Does yours say Zoom Workplace at the top? If it doesn't say Zoom Workplace, you haven't updated. That's the simple way of testing it at the moment, as there's only one
Okay,
Zoom
I just have the
Workplace
regular.
version.
I just have the regular Zoom client.
Oh,
you have not
you're
updated.
missing
Go away,
out on all
naughty
the
boy.
fun. Yeah,
Update and come back.
Grant, come on, jump up, please.
Yeah, I was quite excited when I saw that the original sound, particularly, had moved from being overlaid on the top to being in the top bar. And I'm actually still on 0.0. And one thing that happened was on my 4K screen, as soon as I went full screen, because it was the first thing I saw, was I'm like, is that going to disappear off of the gallery view? And now we're going to have a debris-free gallery view. I got very excited. When it goes to full screen, you're still seeing that top bar. And what happened as well is I just got locked out. And I don't know if it was just a weird thing, but I couldn't do anything in Zoom. Nothing would work. Everything just kind of crashed when I went to full screen.
All right, so I'm now in full screen.
Right. And you still got the top bar. And I was like, well, why?
You mean this top bar left, you mean?
Yeah. I'm like, it's one step forward and two steps
Interesting.
back. Right. Because it was like it's moving it, because it used to be overlaid, like
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It used to be over there. And if your gallery view was spread right out, it would sort of be overlaid over an image.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, this is great. This is a real improvement. But now we don't have a proper full screen without anything. And I thought maybe if you turn off your, persistent meeting, what that setting's
Yeah,
called.
the controls, right?
Yeah. If you turn that off, I thought, would the top bar disappear as well? But it doesn't.
It
So
does.
we're getting closer with that.
Got the top bar up there. If you look at the row on the far left, you've got the three dots, the red and blank and green. That is a window bar that is always on Mac. And so they've
not
put
with
the
full
stuff
screen.
up
No, not with full
into
screen
that
apps.
same, but they're putting these things up into that same bar.
Yeah, but full screen apps, this disappears.
Correct.
Did it used to disappear?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
What
used to
happens is
disappear.
it disappears, and then when you like I'm doing here, when you mouse up, it kind of pops back in. But it's persistent here. It's by the way, just as we're having this conversation, just really want to encourage people, bear in mind that this right here would be me, my camera, and it looks that way because of the way I'm sharing this out to YouTube. And I just want people to be watching how this is switching, and how Lois stayed up that whole time, even though she wasn't speaking, but John came down. It was again, I'm just fascinated by how Zoom is making these decisions.
Yeah,
But,
it's AI. It's called AI attractive indicator.
so because you
all
just
the pretty
popped up
ladies
there.
get kept on longer.
Maybe it's if your microphone is on or off.
So usually the way
That's a
active
good
speaker
assumption.
works, as I understand it. Sorry, Andre, go ahead.
No, I was wondering because I have it on my side on as well, and I was wondering how long does this tile stay, and when do they go away? But we don't know that yet, right?
Actually, you know what's interesting, Andre? I didn't even think about this till now. You're looking at speaker, what's it called? Speaker or whatever?
I'm looking at the new
Multi-speaker.
view, and
Is yours
right
the
now I
same
have-
as mine?
it is right now. It's the same. Yeah. So I have four big tiles and the rest in small.
I wonder if it's the same for everyone, or if sometimes your multi-speaker view will be different from person to person.
Are you sharing screen right now?
No, I'm not. Well, I'm doing it through a third-party app. I'm not actually sharing screen.
So I shouldn't be. So the screen that I'm seeing, there's all this stuff on it. That's just your one picture?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to get out of this into gallery view and then see what I can do about that multi-view. By the way, you said something about immersive. I don't have immersive. I think isn't that something just for a host?
Possibly. There's also still a setting that I believe you have to enable that in settings also. But yes, I think that might be just a setting. Frank, did you want to jump in? Sorry.
Yeah, you just posed a question about if everyone's seeing the same thing. One thing I've noticed is, the prominent active speakers at the top. Underneath that, the rest of us, whoever's not in that mode, there's a white bar. And if you grab that white bar, you can change the ratio, and it changes the layout for me. And obviously for you guys too. So I think it's possible we're not all seeing the same thing depending on how we scale it.
Right. No, my question was not so much do we all have 4 boxes or all 4 boxes in a row or tiled. My question was, are the same people up in multi-speaker view for everyone? Does that make sense?
I just
I see
switched from
Frank and
multi-speaker.
David's screen.
I just switched from multi-speaker to gallery and back, or to speaker, and then back to multi-speaker. And before I had 4 boxes, and when I switched back to multi-speaker, it was only the last one speaking. And when Lois joined speaking, it popped up as a second box.
Yeah, but that
So
happened
we
for
can
all
imagine.
of us.
Yeah, we can imagine that we can't control the view for everyone all the time.
No, but I that happened for all of us, and so I'm actually thinking that this is. I think it is. By the way, just if people are making comments, just so you know, I can't see those, and I apologize. So feel free to
I'll let you know, David.
But yeah, Tamara, go ahead.
Can you use Spotlight more than one person by chance and make them force into that view? Because to me, that was what I thought the preview of this was.
So you can spotlight, but then you're doing something different. So right now I'm spotlit.
Right.
Right. And if I chose someone else, I could add, let me undo this. So now I've spotlit 2 people. I've spotlit myself and Ray, but that canceled the multi-speaker.
I see. Got it.
Right. So now let me go back
Thank
to
you.
this.
That's what I was wondering.
Oh God. Sorry.
No,
Hold on.
no, I don't
Hold
think
on.
it did.
Hold on.
I'll just talk. I was like, you just get one more pin up there and, and that might fix that.
There we go.
It changed my view from multi-view to speaker when you did the spotlighting. And it left
Correct.
me in speaker when you stopped spotlighting. Have you stopped all the spotlights?
Well, yes. Why
Okay.
that's interesting. Why can I not do this? maybe I have to, let me start in gallery. Now I should be, no. Why is that happening now? When I
It's in
spotlight-
celebration of 420 tomorrow.
Oh, I know why, because I'm an idiot. No, sorry. I know what I'm doing wrong. My apologies.
Words have power, David. You're far from an idiot.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay, so I do think that everyone is seeing the same thing fundamentally here. Yeah.
Depending on when they start, because I think that might have been the pins sort of happen as a train. It's like, so depending on when you flick into multi-speaker, I think then it starts getting the updates, and then you start. So it's kind of pushing those changes. It's almost, do you know what I mean? We were talking before about how there was 4 people on for everyone, but if someone joins and changes their mode to multi-speaker, then they're only going to get the one until there's a second or a third or a fourth person that starts speaking. But then once you've been watching for a while, everyone sees the same thing. And I think that was the point, David, that you were saying is I was seeing exactly what you were seeing, and I can see it because you're sharing your whole screen. I was seeing exactly the same layout as you were.
I think that's not quite accurate because do you all see Tamara up there? You see her as one of the 4? Well, stop doing that, David.
Sorry, I'm desperately trying to get this out to the YouTube, and for some reason I can't now. I don't understand why, and I'm sorry.
So I pinned Tamara, which a pin is just something personal, not for everybody. I have multi-speaker on, and when I pinned her, she moved right up there into the multi-speaker with whatever was there. So
Did you pin her to first screen or second screen?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I just
First.
said pinned.
Yeah, first screen.
I have
No, you're
one
right. I
screen,
just did the
one
same
screen.
thing. No, you're right. I just did the same thing. Huh.
I'm
That is
guessing
interesting.
multi-pin's not allowed because we can only pin one person at the moment.
Yeah, it says replace pin if I go to somebody else.
So wait, did we lose multi-pin?
No, I'm still in multi-pin. But I could add a person.
No, but you can't. Hold on. If we pin.
Can I just mention how ridiculous is it that multi-pin is a special thing that you can give to people? Like, can anyone tell me why that
Simplicity, Grant. I think it's done to allow the people that don't use Zoom very often to have a simple world. That's usually why they do those features. I know it sounds a bit silly, but
I think it's
can't multi-pin
accessibility,
in a
Grant.
simple version.
We used to be able to multi-pin.
You can't. I can multi-pin. I can multi-pin still.
co-host can? Yeah.
Yeah.
But your question, Grant, is why would regular people need that ability? I think it's accessibility.
No, I don't. No, I don't mean why do you want multi-pin?
Right.
I'm saying why would you make it a granular option to be able to give people multi-pin rather than just like a global thing? It's like a multi-pin for everyone or not.
Right. I see what you're
because
saying.
if we were going to do granular permissions, then let's give us more permissions out of co-host rather than this big bucket of co-host.
Right.
Like, could we have something else that was just like allow people to, like a medium, co-host or like a step down that didn't mean they could close all breakouts or, or they couldn't control all the breakout rooms or they can't do a bunch of those things. But anyway, I did get off topic there, but it does
I want
seem
it to be like Obvio, where when you select teams, you can choose who gets what.
Nice. Lois, you're right in that you can change what multi-speaker looks like for you by adding a pin.
That's right.
But if you don't do any pins, then everyone sees the same thing.
I think that is an accurate statement. Yes.
I tell you one thing I really like about live streaming now.
That was me. Sorry.
Oh, I'm glad you're not only doing infinite loop on video.
I'm trying.
You also did it on audio, so that's amazing.
Okay, David, just
thing that
log in with your phone, point your phone at your screen, and do it that way.
No way. No way.
So look, one thing that I really like about you, David, you're talking about live streaming. I live stream every week from Zoom just to make it really easy. The thing that has annoyed me for some time is that as a host, I want to see the gallery view so I can talk to everyone. And of course, whatever the host sees is what YouTube sees, or the live stream sees. The nice thing about multi-view now, at least at the moment, is that kind of bridges the gap where YouTube sees it as active speaker, but I see a multi-view where I've got the best of both worlds. I have a gallery view and I have active speaker. But the main thing is that YouTube is seeing the active speaker and not multi-speaker. And maybe they'll change that at some point. But I like that at the moment. And normally I'm having to join another computer, make that host, put it on active speaker, and then I'm sitting in a gallery view to be able to see everyone. So, but yeah, getting multi-view out to YouTube now is a challenge.
Do we know if we can limit the amount of boxes that appear in multi-speaker? Like we only want to have one fixed one and one changing one, for example?
I don't think we have any control over that at this point. I don't think we do. Andre, did you want to jump in? Oh, that was you. Sorry.
Does it look
Yes.
different on a phone or tablet versus a large screen? I have 4 in the multi-view, and I think that's the most we've ever. Somebody talk so we can have a fifth person.
You have 4 right now in the multi-view? Am I in your multi-view?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
Andre and Grant.
right.
I
So
have
just
5.
for what it's worth, you have 5. For what it's worth, if you have hide self view, which I do, you don't show up for yourself in the multi-view.
So you have 3?
Yeah, I have 3.
Okay.
But you can also pin one of your own choice as well. So you
Right.
can add one via a pin if they're not the same as the people there, because we all like to keep an eye on Frank.
And there's 5 now, 4 multi-view and 1 pinned.
And I have 5 without a pin.
Who are your
Goodness.
5, Andre?
It's Ray, it's
Ray?
who's the English speaking guy? Then it's David,
There's-
it's you, Lois, and what's your
John.
name? I don't know your name. John. Yeah, exactly.
So, but why is Ray up there? He's not on mine. Is he on anybody else's?
I
He's
think
not on
Andre,
mine.
did you pin him?
Oh yes, I pinned him. Sorry.
That's it. That's it.
So that's interesting. That would actually be, for me, that would be something helpful to have a little pin on the person's camera so that we would know that they're pinned and not just.
Yes, but they're only pinned by that person for that person. So
No,
we can all have a
absolutely.
different person pinned.
No,
And
absolutely.
it does have
But
a
if,
pin. It does have a pin symbol in his box.
oh, it does. You're right. Thank you. Sorry. Right next to the Ray Franklin, there's a pin.
it
It's
does,
white.
but-
I wish it were like yellow or something, but yeah.
I'm on maximum resolution on my MacBook right now, so I didn't see it.
I'm sorry, people who are watching out there, that I'm not able to show this to you. I'm not really sure why that happened, but
Actually, technically, you've got 2 pins because you can pin one person to the first screen and join all the gallery people, and then you've got the option to choose who you pin in your second screen if you have the second screen running. So you've
Right.
got 2 pin options each.
right.
So what is this immersive view? You went through and said, and in view you have da 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 da, and you said immersive view, but I don't see that, and I'm certainly up to date.
So again, yeah, immersive view has to be enabled on the back end, and it's probably only something that the host has. So for immersive view, excuse me, when you click on it, it gives you these different backgrounds, and you can, like a classroom, and then if I were to start this, then it would put all of you, it would key you out and put you all in this auditorium that I've set up.
This isn't from this release, though. This has been
No,
around for
this is
6
old.
months or something.
Yeah.
And Ray, you're a co-host. Can you do the same thing on your screen?
I don't know.
Do you have immersive view is the question in
I'm
your
looking.
view?
No,
Okay, so it's a host only.
The host only
change
thing, yeah.
theme, but show meeting time. No, I don't have it.
Immersive
Um,
views also, at least it was limited to 25 people. I don't know if they've fixed that yet, but if you have a meeting with 40 people, you're not going to get them all in immersive view.
I might go into, hold on, I just want to try something. Nope, sorry, okay. I thought I would try and do that, but, all right, so let's talk about some of the other changes here. Let's see, how are we feeling about the softening of the icons and things like that? The new React button, I mean, all the buttons really are new. Audio, video. I did get a nasty comment about the hexagonal exit
Hexagonal?
button, hexagonal exit button. They didn't like that.
But that's only for host
have a-
view.
I have a comment for.
Well, the leave for you, it just says leave.
It's a little guy running out a door,
Right,
which is
right.
sometimes how I feel in Zoom meetings.
Right. I think the complaint was that in the previous build, I don't actually remember at this point, but it was obviously a big blue button.
Yeah, I
Whereas
agree with
now
that.
you're kind of aiming at it still is a button. It just doesn't look like a button. It's actually a larger button than it was before. The target is larger. It just looks like you
Right.
have to aim a little more
Okay.
carefully.
So this is the reason I came today. That button got moved into the corner, right into the corner, scrambled right. I tried to resize my window. Odds are real good that I'm going to be kicked out of the meeting.
Yep.
It's a stupid place to put a button to say exit right where you.
Wasn't it always there?
No, it was always in a little bit. So there was a black area around it.
You need to grab from a different corner.
If I'm here and I'm going that way, I have to grab that corner and go that way.
I'm
Either
j-
that or I have to do this side and then this side. No,
Right.
it's a double, grump.
Belie-
It also was a
believe you'll-
different color if you were a host than if you were a regular meeting attendee, which I also thought was helpful.
And the button isn't colored. The button is black. It's that little icon that's colored. So you can't tell that you're over the button unless you're really cautious. Because yeah.
So for people who are watching, this is, oh wait, I have to hide my face. So this guy down here, wait, I've lost my thing. This guy down here. There we go. That's the leave button if you are a participant. If you are a host, you get the end button right over there. Same color scheme, white, red. You can now move these things around.
So David,
Yeah. Are we
Where-
not done
so-
being angry about the end button?
we're not done meaning.
Okay.
Where does a normal, regular human being, a participant who has a complaint like this, where do they take it to get the message to Zoom?
Good evening.
Frank.
My name is John. I'm a Zoom community champion. We have a Zoom community where you can put these types of points, and then I will then answer it for you.
And how
She
do I
previous
doesn't
was
want
a
an
paid-
answer. She doesn't want an answer. She wants a change.
Zoom community is where all the discussions are
what
held.
button do I push to get there?
Ah,
Where is it?
not that easy. Otherwise,
not
we'd
a
have
button.
all 3 million Zoom users in there every day, and I wouldn't be able to keep it under control.
So if you go to community.zoom.com,
It's a totally separate URL. All
it
right,
is
let
a
me write that
totally
down.
separate URL.
Community.zoom.
Zoom.
Actually, there's an actual better way to do this. If you go to the help menu at the top of your computer screen, for the Zoom help menu, there's a give feedback. That's the second option. That's actually the way Zoom wants feedback.
Report a problem.
No, give feedback. Well, you can call it a problem, but they're
No, there isn't
All I have
a
is
give
help center
feedback.
and report problem. I don't have anything else.
really, that's weird. That's in. Are you on the web or in the client?
I'm in the
The-
client and it's the latest.
The reporting problems, Frank, isn't available to everybody at present and may not be
Right,
because
but-
they'll be overloaded.
Nobody from like the community. I'm a community champion. It's hit or miss if you'll get action on feedback in the community. They expect you to actually use the feedback mechanism,
Right, but what we're
Yes,
saying is
but
that we
I
don't
can
have that.
announce that the Zoom
which is
Community
weird. I don't
Champions-
understand why you don't have that.
Well, the Zoom Community Champions are going to be allowed to nominate issues
Yeah,
that they
yeah, that's
find
true.
in the
That's great.
community.
That's a new thing.
That's just come out so that they will. So if there's a common problem that they see, they can then nominate it through to Zoom to be looked at.
Maybe you have to turn it on in the back end. I'm just putting it in the chat. What I see in the help menu.
Lois, I would do report a problem though.
Yep, I've got the window open right now. I won't type while we're doing this, but
No,
yep,
type away.
I see it.
Type away.
Because in the meantime, Lois, you could just keep the participants pane open or the chat pane open, and then the leave button won't be there. Right? It'll be over to the side. If you have your
Wait a second.
participants
What
or chat.
panel?
As in the participants or the chat window
You-
pane on the side.
You mean that my diagonal drag arrow would be available because it wouldn't
Oh.
be. Oh, that's very smart, Grant.
No, that's very smart. If you, okay, I didn't know what he was talking about because I always pop mine out. So if you don't pop your panels out, boy, that doesn't sound
Popping
good.
your panels.
If you don't pop your panels out, then your Zoom meeting gets pushed over and your panel takes up the far right of your screen, which means that in order to resize your screen, the leave button wouldn't be there. That's a very smart little hack.
Actually,
And if you change the theme
other
color,
way-
it's a bit easier to see as well.
and the other way you can do it is drag your whole window down and then use the other corner to.
Well, that's what I was saying, and you yelled at me.
But you were saying just drag it down and it didn't work.
Okay.
Anyway, rant ended. So what else do people not like about the new buttons?
Well, so let's talk about being able to move buttons, because I think that's pretty fantastic. You can now. So what am I? I have no idea what I'm showing anymore. Okay, so can anyone even see what I'm doing? I have so many Zoom clients open.
It's too small.
I'm honestly so confused. Okay, so you can now. So if let's say I don't need breakout rooms, I can take that, drag it into more, and then it just goes away. I can take record if I want to take record out. I can take that, pop it down there. I can reorder things. It's really nice. There are some things you can't pull over. Like you cannot pull over, I don't want to press it now, but I tried to pull over start live stream. I couldn't do that. You can't pull over start focus mode. So you can't you can't pull over notes. You can't pull over the sub menus. But so the things down here, the live stream and focus mode, you cannot pull over. Which
You
is
can put
interesting.
everything in more apart from audio, video, and leave.
Right, but you also can't pull over the live stream, stop and start live stream, and stop and start focus mode. Those are stuck in there. I'm not sure
And
why.
those are admin functions, aren't they?
Well, they're host functions, but I can pull everything else from host over. But I do like being able to reorganize my for me, in my use case, I never actually press the chat button or the participants button because I have them set up on my Stream Deck, so I can just hide those in more, and now I've got space for other things that I don't need on my toolbar. Yeah, Grant.
I like it for me, but I don't like it for everyone else. Right? So this is a thing where I like that I can change things around, but now I'm not confident when I'm directing a group of people to do
Right.
something.
Look at the third icon from the left.
Do you know how many events we do where if you accidentally leave screen share on, how many people are just randomly pressing buttons, and it blows my mind that people would accidentally click share their screen and then actively choose a screen and then share, and they've just accidentally done it. It happens all the time. That is an example to me that if people accidentally press buttons like that, they are likely also going to press buttons and accidentally drag and drop, their buttons around. And suddenly now when I say, okay, yeah, just go down to the share button down the bottom, they're like, I don't see a share button. There is no share button there. It's like, okay, you need to go to the more section because you might have dragged that in there or vice versa or whatever, right? Like you now can't say it should be the third button from the right, like we don't know. So I'm on the fence about it. I think it's kind of cool, but the more customizable it can be, the less consistent it is for everyone that's using it, that are not Zoom professionals, such as
Are
we.
these things that can be turned off or on meeting by meeting? Is the ability to move these things something that is overridden in a particular meeting?
I think Roland's comment there is a great example, is a
Yeah.
good suggestion. I like that, and that is the reset. You can't move the reset to default anywhere. That'll always be in more. So hit more, reset to default, and then it changes the buttons back.
Right, so what they're referring to is down here, when you hit the more, there's this option to reset to default. Yeah, I don't believe, Lois, that this is, I think once you change, this is client-based, not meeting-based. So once you change it in your client, it will be that way. Actually, wait, I take that back. Actually, I don't think it's client-based. I think it's account-based because I use this client with 2 accounts. And when I logged into my Zoom Test Kitchen account, the changes that I had made were not reflected. So I think it's actually account-based, not client-based. Hasmuk, sorry.
I'm getting pretty anxious. On Tuesday, after 6 months of work, I managed to persuade one of the large mobile corporates to have 48 of their executives attend my looking good, sounding good conversation. And they are all on Teams, and I persuaded them to go Zoom. Now, with all these changes, I'm not sure that I'm going to be that confident as I am usually using Zoom. So I'm not sure if I should just stick to the previous version and then take it from there.
Can I tell you, Hasmuk, that my 2 cents real quick, and then Jason, please jump in. And I'm not saying this to belittle the changes, but they really are primarily their makeup. They're a really important makeup, but the fundamentals, I just don't think have really changed that much. The big, I would say maybe the big change is multi-speaker view, and you don't have to use it. That's just my 2 cents. Jason and Grant.
Yeah, thanks. I just see that John's comment down there. Yeah, bad timing. Yes, you can run 2 different versions, and of course, ultimately, it depends on what your 48 customers are running, right? If they're still on 5 point something, or whether they've been forced to 6 point something. What I could say, the big impact on me is all my training guides where I guide users through, Granny that's coming into the church meeting, that kind of thing. Like all of that now is because the buttons are different. They might be in a different place. So that has caused a lot of work on my end in order to make it easier for people attending a meeting. Allow yourself the time to do that. It took me more than a week to go through all the places where I had guides and get them to the correct look. So yeah, maybe you just want to wait a week or 2, Hasmut, before you introduce them to version 6.
Yeah, no, the challenge is that they internally only use Teams. Since I persuaded them to use Zoom, they're all going to download Zoom client, which means they will end up with the latest, newest Zoom. So I guess in hindsight, I'm not going to have any choice in which version I'm going to use.
Good luck.
But again,
have a test machine maybe. Like I'm watching this right now on 2 different machines, right? So that I'm A-Bing version 5, version 6. Yeah, maybe that's the answer.
But just again, if you don't and going to multi-speaker layout is a choice. You have to make that choice. It's not by default. So unless someone knows to go up to the view button and change that, which I would argue 95% of people have no idea what that view button is, unless you move those icons around at the bottom, which again, that you could do by accident. I can absolutely see that, as Grant said. But I think a lot of this is the way things work still is the way things work. Grant, what do you want to jump in?
Yeah, Hashmik, I think you've still made the right choice. If we're comparing Zoom version 6 to Teams, we're a far cry from it being worse than Teams, right? I mean, whenever I go into Teams, they kind of have that pinning thing that happens, and also I can never see the full frame. I've got to right click on every person to see the full 16:9 frame, and inevitably that kind of web-based application that it uses, hangs, it crashes, it kind of like you're clicking somewhere and it will start selecting text on things that are there. I just hate the Teams experience, and so I think that an advantage with people that don't have Zoom on their machine already is that they're going to come in. It's not a change for them. They're coming into version 6, and this is how it works. This is what the version is. So it's more about you feeling comfortable, that it's being open to change, Hashmik. That's the thing for you.
That's why I come to the kitchen.
Fair enough. You're going to be fine. You got this. It's going to be great. You've done the right thing.
And remember that multi-speaker is not necessary because you have Spotlight and multi-spotlight because you're the host, which means you can set it up the way you want it. You can have gallery view where you force everybody to follow the host's view on gallery view. They won't know the difference if they've never been on Zoom before. Oh, there we're going weird.
I'm sorry. I'm desperately still trying to figure this out.
But anyway, so between Spotlight and follow host view, I think you have control. I really do.
Can we actually, John was just asking if I Spotlight, does it push everyone into speaker mode? And
yes, it does.
I'm pretty sure that it does. So if I, let me just Spotlight myself.
Yep.
So now everyone's pushed into speaker mode. Into speaker view. And then when I cancel that, all of us should be pushed back to our last choice. So my last choice was multi-speaker, and it first pushes me back. Oh no, wait, now I'm not. What am I?
It's in multi-speaker, but there's only one speaker because you superseded everybody.
Oh, mine actually took a second to click in. Mine didn't go right back again.
But it's still
David, mine did exactly as you just narrated.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, Andre.
Now, what did lack? The layout did not lack. What did lag was the designation of it in the view menu. But the layout did change exactly as you said. When you spotlit, boom, speaker view, you took it out, it went to the last setting, which for me on this machine was multi-speaker.
Gotcha.
And when someone comes into a Zoom meeting, they're brand new, they're coming into the meeting, do they automatically come in gallery view or in speaker view?
That's a good question.
I believe default is speaker.
Okay, because if they come in gallery view, then when the host says follow my view, everybody's going to see the same thing.
So they come in based on their last preference that they indicated in their last meeting, which is not tied to a meeting ID. The morning executive meeting, I decided I wanted to be in gallery view. Now I'm rolling into the afternoon development team meeting. I'm coming in that last setting until I change it. But for someone who's just downloaded a new client or updated an existing client and they come in, it starts on speaker until they change it.
Well, if you want them to change it to something, you're going to have to teach them about view, and then you get hazards.
Yeah.
Let me get Andre in. He's been waiting patiently, and then Pete.
Yeah, thank you. I just found out that something isn't working that worked before. So usually my workflow for steering my view is I have a shortcut, Command Shift Y, that switches between gallery and speaker view on Mac.
I already know this
Um,
problem because it happened to me
Yeah.
too. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it doesn't work anymore. I only can switch to speaker view, I believe, but not anymore to gallery view.
Correct. So no, you can switch to gallery view, but you cannot
maybe
switch back
that's,
to
yeah.
speaker view.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
It's
bad.
yeah, that was one of the first things that I noticed because that's
Oh.
the most important button to me. And
Yeah, exactly.
So I can get to gallery view, but the same button, and Zoom has not updated anything in the hotkey section or the
Not the
shortcut
case
section.
in
Yeah.
Windows. I have the
No,
still
in Windows, it's
programmed,
two separate. In
right?
Windows, it was always two separate shortcuts.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I've always had it in my Stream Deck, and I can switch easily now from gallery to speaker view exactly as it changed. It'd be nice if it added multi-view, but there are too many options there.
Well, what they'll need to probably do is now have 3 different hotkeys, one for,
Yeah.
so it's not a toggle back and forth necessarily. Let me get Pete in.
And I really,
So,
Ray?
sorry.
I really like the possibility to have only one shortcut to switch between two views, because
I
on
agree.
Windows, I always forget, is it Command Shift Y or X to get the one or the other? So, no, okay.
No, I agree. I'm with you, and thank you for. I know I'm not alone in the world that I was really upset that that broke. Yeah, Pete, sorry about that.
So the question I have for a host or co-host, can you toggle the participant's view with the multi-speaker or not? Is that still?
One more time?
Can you toggle the multi-speaker or gallery or speaker view for the audience?
No, but you've never been able to do that.
I could do it on the webinar version.
No, webinar is
As a whole.
different. Right. In meetings, we've never been able to force
Okay.
a view. We can temporarily force a speaker view, but everyone always has the option to change back.
Yeah, okay. Looking at my toggle for, I can still toggle gallery or speaker, but my pull down menu for that is showing whatever is checked. It's not changing as I change it.
Are you on Windows?
I'm on a Windows computer, but I'm using the Zoom workplace client.
Sorry, I'm not clear on what's not changing.
All right, let me see if I can do a screenshot and send it to you here.
Okay. Incidentally, let me just throw this out, and I'm curious to see if I'm able to replicate this. So, because I wanted to make sure that we took a look at screen sharing now, and specifically royalty-free music. Best not royalty for, okay, no copyright. All right, so I'm going to share while we're waiting for him to send that over. I'm going to share not my whole screen. Oh, that was the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I never share screen. I don't know how to do this. But where the heck is share screen? Oh, incidentally, here's another thing about the UI. If you click on, like I just clicked on share screen and it added itself to the toolbar at the bottom. Right, so I'm gonna drag it. Let me here, I'll show you what I mean. Let me pull this over here. Hopefully we won't get infinity. Are we gonna get infinity? Well, I won't spotlight myself. Right, so here I've got more. Let me make it big for you. I go to more. If I click on share, now you can see, let me get out of this. I'm actually not gonna share, but you can see that now it's added the share button to my to my toolbar at the bottom, which I wasn't expecting, and so I went back looking for it over here. But let me go ahead and share audio. I'm just going to share audio.
David, just an FYI on that too. You could actually go in there and actually drag it out to where you want it on your bar.
No, absolutely. That I know. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share some audio. Now.
I don't think you had share sound turned on. Go back to your share menu.
Let me go back. Where is it? How the heck do I go
lower. There you go. Right-hand side. Under option share sound.
No, but you don't have to. When you click computer audio, it does it automatically.
Do you have original sound turned on? Because like normally it gives you the option for.
No, but you don't. When you choose computer audio, you don't need to.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but what I want you all to pay attention to is what happened to your Zoom screens when I did this.
We don't hear anything.
I'm not playing anything yet because that's not what's important. But does it look like I'm screen sharing now?
Yes, you've got a little icon in the middle and that bar that we can adjust left and right.
Right. But that's a little weird to me.
Yeah,
this is an audio share, not a screen share.
Yeah, you used to be able to share your audio and it not look like a share.
Exactly.
You could just share.
Right. Now, if you look at the top of your Zoom client, though, now you have a tabbed interface. There's a meeting tab, which brings you back to the meeting. And you've got David Paskin's computer sound, but it by default dumps you into this blank screen of death with just the audio playing. And again, I'm not playing any audio because that wasn't the point.
So Zoom said they're going to fix this. There were already lots of complaints on the community forum, and they've acknowledged it, and they're going to fix it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually really like the tab idea up at the top here. Again, forgive me because I'm not really sure what I'm showing you, but I actually really like the tab idea. But throwing people into into that blank screen, I think doesn't make a lot of sense. So let me get
David, I know you didn't play anything, but if you had been playing anything, would we only have heard it when we went to your computer sound tab and not have heard it when we were in our meeting tab?
That's a great question. Let me play something. It's a great question.
I hear it in both places.
In both places, yeah. Now, sorry to do this, but how the heck do I get out of this screen share?
You stop
sharing.
Well, where's the button? I don't see a stop share button.
David, up in the tab, you should have 3 buttons and there's a stop share.
No, I don't.
Okay, I can do it as co-host.
No, don't do it. I'm
not. I
want to figure out where the heck it went. So here I am. Hold on, let me make this big so everyone can see. So
which tab are you in?
So this is the meeting tab. Now I'm in my computer sound. I don't have a stop or anything. I guess, do you just exit out? And that's how you stop it now.
I guess that would be one way. Or you hit the share button again, maybe?
No, but I did that actually. Let me go back and I'll do computer audio again, share. So now we have the 2 tabs again. Now if I go back, now interestingly, by the way, this time, oh no, it did. For the host, it doesn't dump you into this black screen. For everyone else, it does. So if I go back now to the share button, I don't have an end share. I have nothing. If you, right, it's just, so the only way to get out of, the way to stop a share now is up here. But let me try.
What about the more button? Did you have something in the more?
Not for share. All the share stuff is under share. But let me try and share a screen. I'll just, here, I'll share just the browser here for a moment. Where the heck did my Zoom go?
That was interesting for me. That was different because when you did this screen share, it actually forced me over to that tab. But when you did the audio share, it did not.
I'm really confused. So now for this screen share, I now have the traditional thing that I had before with stop share up at the top. That's confusing to me.
Do you think it's different for the host than for other people?
I don't know. Someone else try and do it.
Okay, I'll share
looks-
something.
Yeah.
Sure, I can share that. No, I can't share that. And if I share that, I don't know what it'll do. Are you seeing anything?
Mm-hmm.
We're
Okay,
seeing the gallery.
yeah. So I'm in gallery here. I have a stop share. No problem. I stop share for that. And then I will, well, did it stop sharing?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I'll try a share with the audio share.
And incidentally, while she's doing this, just a reminder that if you are using dual monitor mode, it's just a completely different experience. Screen shares, just entirely different.
Computer audio.
Yeah, but I'm using dual monitor mode, and your share sound took over my first screen,
Right. Yeah.
but the
Okay.
sharing, and as it has now, but the sharing of a screen goes to my second screen.
So as host, when Lois just shared, so on my non-host computer, you can see it went blank, excuse me. On my host computer, it did not shift me into that black hole of death, but I do have the tabs at the top.
David, I have the same experience as co-host.
So it didn't dump you into the computer audio share. Interesting.
No, that's what I was saying before. Like
Yeah.
when you did the screen share, it did dump me over to that tab. But when you did the screen, the share of just the audio, it did not.
Right. And incidentally, so Lois, you have up at the top on your tab that says audio sharing or whatever, you have an
there's
an X there. Right.
I
You have
do.
an X there. I have 3 dots that gives me the option to do stop participant sharing. I'm curious, do other participants, do you have an anything there?
So the 2 tabs at the top, the meeting and the computer audio, are there. When I shared a screen share, we didn't have a second tab. You couldn't go to
Right.
meeting and to screen share.
Because it brings you into that more traditional share
Yeah.
with,
So
yeah.
here's a question. I'm doing an audio share right now. Can someone else do a screen share at the same time as someone's doing an audio share?
If you have allow multiple, so I just got a pop-up that says starting share screen will stop others' computer sound share.
Okay.
But
go
maybe,
go ahead and do that, and then
Well-
I'm going to see if I can come in once your screen share is up there.
well, yeah, but I want to, isn't there a setting to allow multiple
I can
screen
speak to
shares?
that.
Yes.
There is. What, I thought I had that turned on here. Jason, go for it. I'm
You
gonna.
can, in the settings per meeting, as well as in the settings via the web portal, you designate whether you can allow participants to share or just a host co-host to trigger sharing.
Yeah.
And then there's the what happens when you have multiple people sharing question that you have to designate with the radio button, one or the other.
But you know what? So in this meeting, we have multiple participants can share simultaneously, but apparently that's not true. And it says who can share, all participants, who can start sharing when someone else is sharing, all participants. But when she was sharing her audio, I was not able to share at the same time. So
Interesting.
multiple screen shares seem to be possible, but not multiple audio shares.
That
Why
makes
don't
more
you-
sense though. If you
Agreed. Yeah.
share screens, it's easy to look at 3 or 4 screens, but imagine hearing 17 audio sources at the same time. It would
Absolutely.
be horrendous.
But one
Absolutely.
of the settings deep down in there, the sound is ducked. So if Lois shares a tune and she's playing music, the minute David comes in as a host, her sound is supposed to duck. Which makes it really hard, by the way, if Lois is in charge of playing background music during a production. So wonder if that has changed too. Does it still see it as it coming from? Does it have still the old sharing rules from version 5? Is what I'm getting at.
How about if someone who is not a host shares the screen, and just put something up there, doesn't matter what. And then I'm going to see going in to the share to see what the options are. How's that go? Somebody want to share that? There we go. Thank you. And now I'm going to go down to share, and my button says I can do lots of different things. I could share a screen. That seems to be appropriate. Yes. And I'm sharing nothing, but I am sharing. So there are two shares going on. Let me try that again.
If there, and
Okay. So now there are two shares going on. I can't see it, but I
well,
assume
you can because you if you tab at the top, you have tabs at the top. So you can toggle
I'm
between.
sharing, so I can't see it. Someone else.
Ah, right. I'm sorry.
I can see it, but I'm
I
in
think you
dual
can,
monitor
Lois.
mode.
I can tab between yours and the gallery view, but I can't tab to my own course because I'm
But
sharing
yeah, but
it.
you're using, John, you're using multiple display.
on multi-view, yeah.
Yeah, multi-view.
So I
Okay.
get the option on the second screen.
Right.
So I'm going to see what happens if I try and share computer audio. And I'll try sharing that. Now you've still got something up, and now I get an error message. It says you cannot share your computer sound while other participants are screen sharing. So sound is restricted to one.
Okay, so that's even though I didn't share sound.
That's right.
Right. And again, that makes perfect sense, as Frank said.
But if two people were sharing the screen, both screen sharing, you could play a sound on one of those and we'd hear it, wouldn't we? Even if you hadn't clicked that button?
No, you have to share audio as well if you want to be heard. But it is suggesting that the first person can have audio and the second person can't.
That's what I'm thinking, but maybe that's wrong. Well, I'm getting confused here, so I think I'm going to stop.
Look who came out of YouTube and decided he wanted to participate.
Yeah. Hello, Ray Harwood.
Hello,
Thank
everybody.
you for being here.
Hey.
Hey, real quick, what bug in live performance audio, Jason?
Yeah, so you may remember a few kitchens ago, on one machine that's running live performance audio, when you go and in the specific test case I was running local recording, the software mute switch was ignored. So on the screen it said mute, but in reality the microphone was open the entire time. And so then the recording had that double voice baseball stadium effect.
Gotcha.
That's fixed now. But the other issue that I had in webinar with the wallpaper and it looking right in live show, but in local recording, having a 1610 placeholder black box around there, not yet. Not yet fixed.
But wallpaper isn't even in recordings, I thought.
So the particular setup, I'm in a webinar, I'm running it with wallpaper.
Different, sorry.
And then, but I do need to test it in meeting now that meeting has got wallpaper.
Right.
My other machine comes in as a participant, it's running a screen recording, looked great on the screen, local recording, had the black 1610 placeholder for a 16.9 PowerPoint slide.
Right, but just as a reminder, so this is, I just threw a wallpaper up. This is not coming through to YouTube, and it won't be on any recordings.
No, David, I understand that there's another team that's responsible for what goes out as recordings, and there's a separate team that's responsible for the other stuff.
Yeah.
They need to be brought up to date because there's also an argument at the moment about what captions go there. And of course, if you can all choose different captions, there's a whole load of questions about what captions they would send to the feed.
Incidentally, just as an aside, remember earlier how Grant was talking about that bar at the top? So this particular wallpaper that I have up now, I have just that little kind of green square around it, and it gets completely cut off by that gray bar at the top and the gray bar at the bottom. I guess if I toggled if you toggle, where's the hide those things button? Let me pull that
David,
up.
what resolution did you make the background?
I 1920 by 1080. That's what they suggest.
So
I think.
when you make the auto menu bars show up, I believe that it puts that black bar at the top and starts your wallpaper there and goes
Right.
down as far as it will go, and the bottom piece is not shown. It doesn't change the resolution at all. It just shifts it down. That would be a design choice. Would I rather leave the
Right.
wallpaper full and then overlay it at the top, or do I want to, I don't know, that's.
Yeah.
So David,
I can't even find the, sorry, I can't even find the option to hide those. I don't access.
Hide what?
Hide the bars. If I want to hide the menu
Press
bar,
the key, whatever it is on the Mac. Just tap it.
what is it?
On Windows, it's you just tap the Alt key, and it's a in and out. When you tap the Alt key, those
Yeah,
black bars go away.
That is most definitely not on the Mac. I don't know how to do that.
While you're
Keyboard
doing that,
short-
Roland
sorry.
posted a something in the chat that shows an option.
An option?
Yeah, that he wanted to show the example of what he had for changing the theme as a viewer.
Color themes are not available when host has set meeting wallpaper.
Yeah,
Correct. And I saw that
Correct.
as co-host as well.
Wait a second.
that is correct because it is effectively a wallpaper. The theme is effectively a wallpaper.
Wait. What are custom themes?
They are backgrounds that we can put. If
Like
you
a
turn off your
corporate-
wallpaper, you
corporate
can
They're
change
the
them.
three colors. There's red, green, and blue sort of view. If you
individual users, participants get
Right,
to
but you
change their
said-
own screen.
But
You
not
set-
if you're in dark mode. We talked about that last week, I think.
Right. So I'm in dark mode right. Oh, so let me get out of dark mode. Maybe that's
Yeah,
why I'm not getting
That's
anything.
why. Not in dark mode.
And you've got a background on, but
Right.
you set the size of the background so that if my screen is less than that wide, I will never see.
Yeah, no,
on the right hand side. It's not adjusting.
I know.
Okay.
Let me turn that off. Oh God, now it's blue. Okay, wait. So I just got out
so
of
now look in your menu bar and look at the three choices for themes
in the menu bar.
under View.
In the view
View-
bar.
view
Oh,
at the
under
top.
view. I see.
Change
theme. Ah, I see. Oh, I kind of like the blue. Oh,
my
see, I'm
background on my 4
I'm never
monitors
in
is
light
red.
mode, so I never.
Yeah.
I never see this. Interesting.
So if he establishes follow host view, does that also follow the host view for the background color?
Huh. Follow host view. So where is that? I don't see. Oh, there it is. So you have to be
change
in
my
gallery.
background color. I changed my background color to green. I don't know what you had earlier, but
Right, but it's not follow host view. It's follow host video order. So I'm in gallery view right now, and I'm going to make a little order here. I'm going to put Mike first, and then Ray, and then me, and then John. So now if I go up here and I say follow host video order, now you all should be seeing that same order. Mike,
So it
Ray,
changed the order, but it did not change the background.
right. Now, on one of my clients, on a client that's in multi-speaker view, it didn't do.
no,
Oh, no, it did actually. I'm very confused.
I don't.
No,
it didn't change multi-speaker on mine.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't affect multi-speaker. So again, this is the This is the power of Zoom is in its democracy, right? That every user gets to choose how they want to view things. Tamara, go ahead.
What would be a value for me to choose what I want to do? Like, I want to choose my own look. Like what would be the value of me having that capability?
Cosmetic?
Corporate branding.
No,
But if it's
I think
just for
she's
me-
asking from the perspective of a participant, right? Is that what you're saying? Why
Yeah.
does it matter to a participant to be able to choose their view?
Like if I was screen scraping the meeting, I guess, and I wanted my own branding on it, like it just feels like it's just aesthetic. Like
Artistic
people want to see
preference.
pink.
We've always been able to spotlight as viewers, unless host views imposed on us. It's
Pin, you
not a
mean?
new
We've
concept.
been able to pin. We haven't been able to
Yeah.
spotlight.
That's what I said. We've
Yeah.
always I've always been able to pick my view if the host doesn't take that ability away from me. This is an extension of that.
Interesting.
And
I like
there's
it.
a side effect. There's a side effect of picking this color. It also becomes the color of the menu bar of the desktop client.
Right. I do like this blue though.
Yeah, the blue is really nice,
The blue
actually.
is really nice. Interesting. All right.
David, if you are in multi-speaker view, you see the gallery down below the people who are up above it big. Can you move people in that gallery position to position? Now, I can't. I assume you've still got host order is locked, right?
Yeah, I will release video order, but no, I cannot. You cannot move people in anything other than gallery view. Yeah. The green view matches David's branding. Well, that's why,
It
Tamara.
looks fantastic.
No, not the green view. Oh no, I didn't even look at that. But again, I keep everything in dark mode. By the way, Google Drive finally came out with native dark mode this week. Made me so happy.
Where is it? I can't find it.
It just popped up for me. I have no idea.
Maybe
All right.
because you're using dark mode on your computer and it's paying attention.
Oh, that could be it, actually. No? I'll be right back. Ray, it's all you.
Got it. So for the average, so where are they making the decision on the average user versus the production? Is this Andy and the gang pushing Zoom to someplace more than what most users need?
That's the way it works, Ray. They innovate. Then if it's reasonably successful, it goes into ZoomOSC, spawns Zoom Tiles production studio. And then if it's really successful, it'll end up in the main product.
And do you see any issues, John, of your average viewer being confused by this?
Yes. My average user is unfortunately easily confused. And I can say that because I know they wouldn't want to watch this particular YouTube channel.
Certainly not at this length of the event. What are the concerns? Well, if we haven't beaten this one up, I know, but he didn't last. Oh, Bobby's here. Bobby had a question. Maybe we could jump into that and then we'd change the mode. If Bobby's still listening in at Zoom, was it an OSC problem? Yeah, guess not. Yeah, there he is. Bobby, what was your issue? Zoom mute was your issue. Still
Zoom.
today.
There I am. Hello. I can't actually see myself, so
It's all right. We see you and you look great. What was your issue?
Okay, my question is a ZoomISO question. And it was, why would my permissions be revoked once the host stopped the practice session and went into their webcast? Would anybody know?
ZoomISO, did you say?
Yeah, I used ZoomISO, and we were in a webcast in a practice session, and then they started the webcast, and then my permissions just went away, and everything went red on ZoomISO, which ruined my feed. So it was a little dangerous.
And you were the TD?
Yes. And I was able to stop ZoomISO, restart the program, and request permissions again, and it was fine.
Have you been host or co-host with a machine?
For some reason, this account didn't want me to be co-host when it was a webcast. So that was another question, if it was just a glitch or if I always need to, I always thought I needed to be a co-host or a host in order to utilize the tools.
No, you can be a participant who has get granted streaming or recording privileges. You don't have to be a host or co-host as ISO machine.
Okay, so that was the thing. I did that and I had the permissions and I was not a co-host. And it was working until they went out of the practice session. I remember that too. Yeah.
When you said they went out of the practice session, do you mean they went from one meeting to another, or do you mean they went from a breakout room to the main room, or what do you mean
Click the
by
little
that?
blue button.
They said
Webinar.
that they were in a practice session, and if I,
It's
you know,
webinar.
webinar then.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
webinar. Yeah.
Okay.
And so just for clarification for everybody, when you are in a practice session, or if you are in a Zoom events with Backstage, there is a blue button that says Start Webinar. And I think it's mislabeled because you're already in the webinar, but it's not available for attendees. And when the host clicks Start Webinar, that little blue button, then you were live for attendees. So I think that's what you're talking about, is when that got clicked, something happened to the privilege of, and that's not normal. I've never seen that before.
I was a participant. I was in as a participant without, and I
As a
requested permission.
panelist, as a panelist.
Yeah,
in the
yes,
webinar.
sir, as a panelist.
Okay.
That is not normal use. There is one use case where I think you might have broken it, and that is if you were registered as an attendee, which you shouldn't be. So I
No.
would just check that. But that's the only reason I can think why you would lose it. There is there's no declaration that when you're in practice and you go live, there's no notification that anything gets reset.
It's weird. It just went red. It just went, capturing is disabled once they went live.
Bobby, I think John's onto something. So just to clarify, in Zoom webinar, start practice session, in other products, it's called backstage mode. Okay, so your attendees, because you have two roles in webinar, you have panelists, you have three, sorry, you have panelists, you have a host, and you have attendees. In a practice session, your host and your panelists come into the Zoom room, but your attendees are not allowed in yet. You click the blue button that says start a webinar to take it from practice into live. Now we're on stage. Your attendees start trickling in. In that, on your ZoomISO machine, where you might have hiccups is if your ISO machine is not coming in as a panelist, I would double check that. If it was allowed to attend the practice session, I would think it could be a panelist, but always double check. The other issue is it using an ID that is tied to a free account? Because a free account has different rules than a paid account in terms of when it can join, how long it can stay on, et cetera, et cetera. Those are just the things that I can think of off the top of my head.
It's probably a paid account. I mean, it's a utility company, so I'm pretty sure they have, they have the higher end account. But one thing
is automated recording set on or not, Bobby? Because that could potentially break it as well.
Auto recording.
Yeah, because auto
and
recording.
I've got one other scenario.
Won't work in the practice, will it, Ray?
No, it's probably not auto recording, but that is a good point. But I do remember that I had trouble joining with using the punching in the numbers, and they were like, "No, you have to join from the invite." And then
yes, correct.
And then
that's
an
attendee. That's not a panelist. It's a
There's,
separate.
there's another issue. There's another issue I don't think we've really talked about, and that is if you registered a different user and use a different email address, use a different account, and you log in with the join link from that account, you're associated with that account. I've had people share panelist registrations before, and that screws everything up because when the second person clicks that very same link, one of two things will happen. Either the first person gets booted out, depending on the settings that you have, or you both come in with the same name. And that's not really an issue because you can use the rename feature. But when you do that rename feature, you end up renaming both of them to the same thing. I've had that happen before. Oh gosh, your name is Fred and your name is Fred, but you should be Frank. So I go in, I change Fred to Frank, and all of a sudden they both say Frank. So make sure that you are not logged in with the credentials of any other panelist.
Okay, that should have been correct too. Yeah, it's the strangest thing. It was just, I
guess my other thing is crank up another one and test it and see if it happens again. It might have just been a glitch in the Zoom backend, but test it.
Well, my show was okay. Thank you for the information. And yeah, it looks like I still have a couple of things I'll have to research, but those are some good tips.
It's a good question.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a tough one. It was almost a disaster and would not have been good.
Hey, Bobby, have you played with the ISO update that came out?
I just downloaded it today here, so I have not.
Do you have? I haven't had a chance to look at the notes. Do you know if there's anything big in there that?
Yeah, I was looking at the notes, and it's a long read actually.
Really?
Yeah. 2.2. I'm looking at. I actually had the page up because it has a lot more NDI features, and there are some other things with stereo audio and mono audio, and the way you output it. I'm not an audio guy, but there is a huge punch list here. And yeah, it's got to be 20 lines long at least.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The other cool thing in the latest release is that, as you might have done or known, you can set the waiting room for meetings to be different. You can put your own picture or you can upload a video. You can now do that for webinars so that people don't see the standard webinar thing. You can actually put up I'm working on a thing that says, we're going to let you guys in a couple minutes early, and then we'll probably start a couple minutes late. So we allow everybody to get in, and please be patient and click and listen to the fun music while you're waiting and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, music is definitely a good thing for them to update.
Yeah.
That's great because everybody's asking for that still.
Yeah.
But
I've got an Envato subscription, and I just grabbed something off of there, and it's licensed.
Yeah, this was the strangest thing that it just booted me as soon as they clicked start. It was out.
Weird.
And the only way it was
test it again. Yeah, I would run it through the very same scenario, and see if you get it again. And if you don't when you're testing it, and then it happens again when you're live, I know in the panic of the moment, and I've had these sorts of things happen too, where, oh my God, I got to do something. Take as much information as you can about, were there other people joining and that sort of thing at that moment, to sort of rule out that two people trying to access the same credential at the same time.
Yeah, it was actually a board of directors meeting, and there's one person doing the slides, one person who kept turning that camera on and off, who's not doing the slides. And then there's two more from the house that I scraped one of their screens for the slides, and I also use the other one to send the Zoom feed from our cameras back to them. So it's a complicated, it's a big system. It's like operating a submarine. So
I do hope that you always have a second person recording. Always that's just standard backup practice, right? Did the other person have the same trouble you did?
No, the house Zoom people did not have any trouble. I don't know if they record on Zoom. We put an output to a Shogun and to OBS to record, and then we send our Cat5 to the wall, and that's the stream. So it's complicated, but that's how it pretty much works. But everything was perfect, and we just rebuilt the system to use a Stream Deck to control two Roland VR160s and a VR50 Mark II alter a Stream Deck and macros. And the only thing that went wrong was that I lost permissions out of this huge setup.
Yeah.
And the permissions were to grab the ISO feeds, right?
Correct. What I'm trying to just do is grab that person who's sharing slides camera,
Right.
and send that back out.
Right. So I don't have I mean, they're much smarter than people than I just told you what to look for, but I can only tell you that in the one of the things that we've come up against in thinking about Zoom integrated into Ecamm is the relationship between recording or streaming and being able to capture feeds, because essentially all of these vMix, they're all using the same ISO protocols. They're all grabbing the feeds in the same way. And there are two, as I understand it, two ways that they can do that. They can either do that by making it look to the meeting like it's being live streamed, or by making it look to the meeting like it's being recorded. And I don't have to tell you that if I start a recording using an ISO machine, then you can't start a cloud recording. And sometimes if there's one recording already going, then you can't start another. So there's some weird.
That might be it. Maybe they're recording and then I'm trying to enable the engine.
So if there's a local record already going with the same device or the same account, then I don't know. There's some quirkiness there, which I know that we've run up to.
There's two ways to get the data out, and some things like ZoomISO use the. I'm going to get it the wrong way around now, so I can get told off.
Well, no, you have the choice actually.
Yeah,
in ISO.
So because I think it's on vMix, I think they use the streaming option, I think, to get the data out. So some of them are fixed to which way. So, and if you then obviously you then use that facility up. So then if you try and use the native recording on the native streaming, one of those apps is using that. That's right, David. It will cause a clash. Clash.
Maybe they're auto recording, or maybe somebody's hitting record of this.
It could have been also recording when it went live. That would make sense. And then when it went live, the recording started and it shot the ISO in the face.
If cloud recording was enabled to start automatically, then you wouldn't be able to.
So if they enabled their cloud and they hit live, that would knock my permissions out, which would kind of make sense where I shut ZoomISO off and then went back and re-requested permissions to use it, and it said okay.
I guess so, maybe.
And then the rest of the meeting was fine. And actually the audience or the board of directors did not see any glitches, but I had the IT guy.
Good for you. That's
We all
awesome.
thought we were going to lose our jobs that day. This is 2 days ago. It was pickles coming out of my ears, you know?
David, you said, I think, that in a meeting, if someone turns on the cloud recording, that you can't do a local record. I thought it was the other way around. Can you that I could start a local record and then anybody.
ZoomISO, Lois. This is for ZoomISO.
Okay, different thing, not a meeting. Got it.
Correct.
Well, it sounds like we're driving around in a van with a dog solving mysteries today. So thank you. Scooby-Doo, this team here.
I'm looking to see, because I had a whole conversation about this. Where is it? About that whole recording piece and what should go first. Chicken or the egg.
And for some reason, when I was, is there any effect if I'm host or co-host or not co-host with I mean, should I always be a co-host on these webinars? I thought I should.
I would go for being co-host.
That's what thank you. I thought that was like the de facto standard for it.
No, you can be.
Your ISO needs to be a co-host to have the authority to do the things it's doing.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be. It can be a panelist with recording permissions or live streaming permissions. It doesn't have to be co-host. But I believe it can't be wrong to be co-host, because then you have some more options as only the ISO things. And regarding the recording things, I thought this was resolved, but I went into this as well. So as long as the cloud recording is running, you can't start the ISO machine, the ISO engine. You first have to stop the cloud recording, start the ISO engine, and then start the cloud recording.
Then ISO won't work. Okay.
And this is maybe they have it enabled like on a deeper account level, so they have to check this.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of information for me to. That's great. I mean, this really could help. It will help, because now I can know the differences between.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Wait a second. Okay. When you start, I just found this. When you start a local record for the purposes of permissions to bring participants in using ISO, you cannot then subsequently start a cloud recording. Right? That was the issue for us. So because the protocol that we were using was the recording protocol at first, the local record protocol, okay, so if you have local recording, then you can't start cloud recording. And obviously you cannot start another local record, because as far as Zoom is concerned, you're already doing one on the same machine. Right?
Okay.
So
I was never recording. No, I was just.
No, I know, but but if anyone, there's a conflict between cloud and local record for some reason.
Mhm.
The fix for this is to use the streaming permissions. Sorry. Okay, that's all that's here that's interesting for this conversation.
So
David, sorry, David, did you say the fix for it is to use the streaming permissions, and this is written somewhere? Because I remember Andy saying that the only difference in the streaming and recording permissions is what notice the participants get in their display. Like sometimes you have customers who don't want to have their meeting live streamed,
recorded,
but they're okay with getting it recorded. And so in the beginning, Andy said it was only like changing the prompt, but nothing in the back end that has influence. But maybe it's something that influences recording.
So I don't know. What he told me is that for the particular use case that I was looking at, that live streaming is a different protocol than recording, if I understood him correctly. And that if I'm using the live streaming protocol, then I can start cloud recording and it wouldn't be an issue.
Good to know.
So
that's good to know.
One of the comments in the chat is order of operations matters, and I'll second that a little bit by saying that as I've sort of gelled together some of this conversation, it sounds to me like you may or may not have had co-host permissions or whatever. So in order to start ISO, you would have having to give that machine local recording permissions so that it can get to the streams that it needs to. And then when the webinar started, it had cloud recording initiate automatically on start. And when that sprung forth, the machine lost its capability, kind of based on what David had just said about don't start it with local recording and then do a cloud recording. So look at that order of operation, give the machine local recording permission, start it up, then start the webinar and see if that kicks it off. I'm guessing that's probably the answer.
So the host should give me co-host and then local recording permissions.
No, I think you have to start the recording in the cloud.
Okay.
And then
Roland
give it co-host.
Roland just left you a gift in the chat. That from presumably from the Liminal website about capture modes. So there's live stream capture mode and recording capture mode. It doesn't fully answer your question, but it's another piece of the puzzle here.
Yeah, I got one, and then there's the other one.
So
yeah, I'm working with another little a team member, and this is going to help us, I believe.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I appreciate
Great.
everybody's help. There it is. Okay, let's print
Good
these.
stuff. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
good
Order of
stuff.
operations matters, as Frank says. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, knowing this and then remembering that the auto start, I don't know if they're recording it, but we're recording everything, so there would be no reason for them to record the Zoom, or they just have extra.
You're recording locally?
We're recording locally.
Oh, well, that's why.
Well, no, I mean, I'm sorry, I misrepresented I'm recording locally to a Shogun, to like the output of
You're screen scraping for
the Shogun is just getting a program feed out of the switcher, the roll.
Okay, but you're not Zoom recording locally.
Yeah, no. I'm not.
But somebody in setting up the webinar checked the little box that says please auto start the recording, and they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, so but that's, you know what, and we thought, now that I think about it, it actually happened last month, because we do this every month, that I got booted out very quickly. So that is it happened twice and at the same time. So there's my.
You thought it was a one-off the first time, but the second time is no. I got to go ask somebody some questions. Yeah,
and then it's a month later, and you know the person, the IT guy, told me at the end. He's like, "Oh yeah, that happened last month, didn't it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." So
there you go. That's the place to start, Bobby. Somebody's Zoom ID has checked automatically start recording at the beginning of the meeting, or whatever that box is called. And that setting is also in the web portal. It can be set at the account level, and the Zoom administrator may have even done that, in which case the user that's signing into your meeting, the box is grayed out, they could not uncheck it. So there's another place but I think we're on to something, is that someone's coming in with recording permission set to do X, and you're trying to get your ISO to do Y, and Roland's dropping in great stuff in the chat window. Make sure you grab that stuff and save it.
Okay, you know what's maybe another clue is, every time they have that meeting running, no matter what whether it's a webinar or just a meeting, I always have to request permission from them. So is that because I'm not a co-host yet, or?
Yeah. That's normal use case. If you're not a co-host, you will always have to request permission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a choice that the people make when they set up the meeting.
No, to record, I believe you
to auto record to the cloud, that's something that can be set up when you're setting up the meeting. So the meeting owner, the webinar owner, would need to be asked about that.
Okay, so far in the chat, I see there's two things. Anybody else post something? Because I see a couple of PNGs that I can't.
A couple of PNGs, and then some things that Roland typed in above. But yeah, so you're.
I don't see the photos. There's three that it's just text. Is that strange? Anybody else?
Well, they're photos of text, it looks like.
Well, I have two. I downloaded two understanding capture mode, and then the one that was highlighted with red marker. But
yeah, those are the two.
And then I see as far as I can see, and then okay. Oh, so this is the text that goes with those two photos.
Yes, those are two. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pete, did you want to jump in real quick?
I'll copy that stuff.
No, I hit the button by accident. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Did we discuss if setting the permissions to live streaming will influence this? So if you get the live streaming permissions, not the recording permissions, as ISO machine, and the meeting has the cloud recording enabled, will this have influence on the ISO's capability or not? I would at least check this. Maybe.
Yeah, so that's what we were trying to figure out on our end. And my understanding, I can't speak to if cloud recording is set up before the meeting to automatically start, but I can say that if I am grabbing an ISO feed using the live streaming protocol, by the way, I don't know if protocol is the right word, so forgive me if it isn't, but if I'm using the live stream protocol, then that does not interfere with recording, as I understand it.
Yeah, but I would check, as Bobby, I would check if this actually works. This could be a workaround, quite easy.
To make sure that I would have live streaming protocol set to.
So in ISO, you can set the capture mode to recording permissions or live streaming permissions, something like this. And if you take the live streaming mode, try to enter the meeting with running cloud recording and see if you get kicked out your permissions as well, or if the live streaming actually works in parallel with cloud recording.
So here's ISO over here, and in your settings, you have capture mode, live stream, or record. So this is where you set that right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably had it to live stream. Okay.
No, which is what I think you do want to have it set at.
Yeah.
I think
okay.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's just another thing to see. Okay.
Yep.
And have in mind that the audience will get a notification this meeting will be live streamed or this meeting will be recorded, depending on your mode.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
The thing is that the board is all on the Zoom, and there might be attendees, but I think they're changing that to just be a live stream. So then that'd make it different too. But okay, I think that you guys gave me a lot of info to go on. I appreciate everybody's help.
Yeah, Grant, you want to jump in?
Yeah, no, it was great. It's been a while since I've seen everyone, so thank you.
And so, sorry if I missed half of that conversation. But just quickly, my experience, I don't like using the live stream option because I don't want all the attendees to be concerned about it. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean it's live streaming? I prefer it to recording. People understand. And so I keep it in recording. The thing that I have had to do up until now, this is something that I believe has changed in the latest version, is the cloud recording issue, which all of my meetings auto start cloud recording. So I have to stop the cloud recording, request, enable the capture mode, and then start cloud recording again. That works fine. I believe that has now changed in the new version, that you don't need to stop cloud recording. It can do it essentially in local recording mode. So that's something that I've played with. But you probably already said all of that. I just jumped in at the end.
No, thank you, and more feedback to welcome, honestly, because I was out there pretty much alone on this one with a team of people who said, "What are you going to do?" So yeah, it went well though. It went really well. So but I got it. I have a month to prepare for the next one. They're going to say, "Hey, do you remember why that happened?" So I need to know that today so I can start, fixing it before it's a problem.
Great.
That'll be a nice.
Have we talked about transcription yet, David?
What happened with transcription? What did I miss? Is there something new with transcription?
Well, just that I haven't tested this yet. It's just rumor, but apparently there's transcription support in OSC now, so that you can get the text of the transcription being pushed out over OSC.
So how would you do that, and
so
why would you do that?
So just in the same way that we can get chat. So chat can come, we can get the chat that comes, and we get OSC commands pushing that. We can also do that apparently with transcription. So that means that when as the voice is being transcribed into text, that gets pushed to OSC. So you can imagine this kind of opens up all sorts of use cases for doing some automation around what people say. Right? Yeah, I just like the light going off in your head.
You mean if you hear a word, then OSC could take actions?
Yes.
Wow.
But you could also do things like your own AI analysis of things too, right? So one of the things that I think about is if you're monitoring a bunch of meetings and they're, events and they're long or whatever, I think about analyzing what people are saying. And if it sounds like they're in trouble or they're having technical issues or they're, then do X, alert or send a message to this or, whatever. But it's also one of the things I do in after hours with ZoomOSC is I have it I have a Slack channel that tells me who's talking in the after hours channel, right? So when anyone starts talking, I've got a little script that runs, and it will alert me of who's talking once every 30 minutes, right? So it'll say, and it just comes up and says David Paskin's talking, and then if you continue to talk, it'll only alert me once every half an hour. So then it changes, and then it says Jason's talking, and I see that, and so it's just really helpful for me because it just tracks, firstly, if anyone's talking at all, and secondly, who is talking. Because occasionally if Alex drops in or, whatever, I'll be like, oh, there's probably something happening. And so I jump in. So the next level of this is saying, not only is David Paskin talking, but this is what he's saying. Like, so you could say, do some little analysis and give me a little snippet of David Paskin is talking about X, Y, Z at the moment.
You know what
And then it's like,
okay. So, when we have services here for the high holidays, the rabbi here, or priest or imam, doesn't really matter, gives a sermon. And one of the things that I would love to do, but we just don't have the people power for it, is when the rabbi says something really fantastic, is to transcribe that and push it out over chat via YouTube, wherever we're streaming to, or in Zoom comments, even Zoom chat, so that people who, some people are auditory learners, some people are visual learners. They want to look at the text. That's me. I want to look at the text. So I'm imagining an AI that is listening, that is self-choosing the best stuff, and then automatically.
You just hit a button on your stream deck and it puts up the last sentence or the last paragraph for you automatically.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That I would use AI in that. You take a trigger that is you saying this is a point of interest.
Yeah.
Like bang, point of interest. And then it knows the point in time, and then says, go back and take, that sentence or that paragraph and choose, a certain number of words or something. It's like, give me the last two sentences or something like that.
I also love the support idea. If someone, if a meeting or something is starting and the AI hears, OSC hears someone saying, I can't figure out, where's my camera, right? It just automatically puts them in the support breakout room or something. It just dumps them in there so someone can.
Where did they go? They said, I can't share my screen, and then they just disappeared.
That's like, what's that? The new app that they gave us, the remote control settings or something on steroids.
Remote settings, yeah.
Remote settings, yeah.
Do you know, like what John is saying there about if I hear welcome Grant, then spotlight Grant, the thing would be like David saying, okay, we're going to take the next 3 questions are from Jason, Tamara, and Frank, and then spotlight.
It just does it for them. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
So it could be game changing
stuff. That's cool stuff. The NSA, Jason says, will love this feature. Yes. Very, very cool. What have we not dug into yet?
I was going to say, how far did we get on our release notes lists?
I don't know.
Oh, there's lots left.
There's lots left. Frank, what jumped out? You had the privilege of playing with this for a while, I think, or at least parts of it. What's jumped out to you as a standout feature?
There's new functionality around the companion AI, and now I can participants can ask the host to turn it off.
Which but also, did before.
I was just fooling around. But also, if the host isn't around, members of the meeting can turn it off.
Really? For themselves or for everyone?
I think for everyone.
If you abandon your meeting, if you abandon your meeting and say you guys continue for half an hour, if they're going to talk about something that they don't really want included in the notes, they can turn it off.
But why? How do I abandon a meeting? By the way,
You
wait,
make Frank
Tamara, I
host
did
and
see
you
you.
leave. Yeah.
Oh, if I make, I have to make someone else host. Okay. So if I were to make you host, then that would give everyone the ability to turn on or off companion for the whole meeting.
I don't know, I haven't tested it.
That's what it says. I haven't tried it,
All
but
right,
that's what it says.
Ray,
Um,
I'm making you host.
but you're still here.
No, well, hold on a second. Wait, do I then
Get
have
out.
to leave the meeting?
Get out.
All right. Ray is now host. Do I have to physically
Look,
leave?
I'm host now.
I mean, I will.
I don't know.
But so it's turned on, right?
It is currently turned on.
Yeah.
I, as a participant, am not able to
Neither can
change
I.
that. I can only
I'm
ask
gonna-
it questions.
I'm gonna leave the meeting, then I'll come back just to see.
So
Okay.
he was the owner and now he's gone, and
I knew it'll work. Get rid of him.
let's lock the room.
We
Frank
would have
is
a very
requesting you to
nervous
come out.
rabbi. That'll be David's other show. Nervous Rabbi with David.
So wait,
We
so
don't know anything.
did it work? Could someone turn it off?
Frank made a request and it came to me and I could either approve it or deny it. It wasn't.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything that has to be configured on the back end. I haven't
Maybe.
haven't seen it, but there's lots of big things and there's lots of little things. Like here's the little thing, maybe. Meeting and calendar tabs have been consolidated. Is that a big thing?
I love it.
We talked about the personalized in meeting toolbar. There's improved collaboration with Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive files. We talked about meeting wallpapers. There's dynamic emoji reactions for video tiles. So that's when the reactions.
Wait. Hold on a second. Wait, slow down. You're going too fast.
That was mine.
Oh yeah, let me get Tamara in real quick, and then
Sure, of course.
I want to figure out. I want to go back to the documents because I've never played with that. Tamara, did you want to jump in? Sorry.
I was just going to comment on the dynamic emojis because you haven't mentioned those. We've been doing nerd things. They're super fun.
Where are dynamic emojis?
So if you click on the emojis, the top row, you get to send them with effects. So like my favorite is rockets. But wait, this is why I think it's super cool. Unlike all of the other places that allow you to choose dynamic emojis, if you click the 3 dots, you can send anything. Pants. You can send goats. Like any one of the emojis is at your disposal to send a dynamic emoji, which I thought was super fun and totally new for us.
I'm sending hamburgers.
Yeah, so like all the emojis are at your disposal to send
fun.
dynamically, which I thought was like, wait a minute, what are these 3 dots?
That's pretty cool.
And then the other thing, if you notice when you send an emoji, it changes the color of your background a little bit. It like mutes you into a weird color, which you can't see 100%.
Wait, I'm not seeing that.
Right. So let me change my to I tried this last night. This is like
You can
Frank is having
see
too
it
much
on
fun
my
with the
second
emojis.
machine.
Yeah, let me try it as an avatar because you can really see it on the avatar. So let's see if I can make that happen. So if I do an emoji, a dynamic emoji with the avatar, you can see that it puts a little filter. So
nice.
Does that happen? That's really interesting. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's like matching
so like
the color.
it kind of matches whatever your little emoji is.
But does that do it for when you're not in?
It does, but it's so faint you can't really see it as much. That's how I was like, let
Pretty
me put
subtle.
on this other to see.
Huh.
So yeah, that was the
I gotta say, having you use we don't use that enough. Like that's a great feature.
well, I love, like we use it in Google all the time, like at my work, that seems to be the way people show love, which is crazy. But you only have 5 choices. And when I looked at this, I was like, we have more than 5 choices. We
Yeah,
have
that's
all the
nice.
choices. So,
That's nice.
so there you go. There's my non-nerd one, but that was kind of fun.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. Yes, added new OSC up. I just got the Zoom OSC change logs. Thanks to our friend. OSC output for Zoom's automatic transcription. Wow.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So, what's weird about those emojis? We worked out too that we use emojis sometimes in people's names and we automatically assign them. We've worked out that there's only there's a reduced number of emojis that will work in somebody's name. And what's interesting too with the reactions is not all the emojis are available. So, for example, when you look at flags, there's 10 countries or there's like 8
Right.
countries, but not all of them. But yet, so the Australian flag is not there. Therefore, I'm going to leave this. I've had enough. If my country cannot be represented, then I'm out.
Right.
I'm going back to Teams.
So there's a feedback form.
Nice.
Like, Zoom.
But I believe the Australian flag can work in a name. But so it's just interesting where there's limitation there.
That's interesting.
And that they've chosen some countries. I see China's there. That makes sense.
סליחה, לא, יודע. סליחה רגע, אני רוצה להשתמש בעברית. I'm just checking the new Hebrew transcription. It works.
Dude,
Sorry.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, is my brain glitching?
No, that was one of the things they added that I got all excited about, and I forgot to check it the other day.
Okay, that's cool.
Tamara, go ahead.
So one thing about that, because I was trying to transcribe, to use the transcription for our Korean overseas meeting, because we didn't have our little translator. And I was able to do it the first time to try it. And then after that, they were like, would you like to pay for this for $5? And I was like, yes, I would at the moment. But now it isn't like, if you're just a regular pro account user, then you actually have to pay for it, $5 a month.
Wait.
Yes.
Why?
I just found this out yesterday.
You have to pay for
The
what?
international translations is not available for pro accounts except on a pay per account basis.
Correct. Yeah.
That's
Which I didn't know
interesting.
until yesterday, but I paid him
For
anyway.
what languages? All languages or?
Everything. I got one when they first came out, and it took me 2 weeks to get it, but because they didn't have it automated at that point. But I had to pay $50 a year for the license.
Yeah, it's pretty instant now because yesterday I had clicked on it and it let me do a trial of it, which I didn't realize was a trial. And then when I went back into a meeting again, they were like, you can use this feature. It's $5 a month or $60 a year, I think was the thing. So I was like, I'll pay $5. The Korean translation is not very good. But so I probably won't be paying for that. But I just found out yesterday. So literally that's pretty up to date.
And it's only good for one account. It's not for one user in the account. It's not for everyone in the organization.
I need to jump off in a few to start my trek home. But before I do, I just wanted to, and I don't have to leave because Ray's the host now. I did, but I just wanted to, for those of you who didn't hear this, it really just kind of blows my mind, and I confirmed that this is the intent, and this is the intent, that if you purchase a Zoom Sessions pay per user license, pay per attendee, sorry, I keep calling it pay per user, which is $100 a year, $100 a year, you get ZoomISO Pro, you get ZoomOSC Pro, you get Zoom Tiles when it comes out, they're all bundled now in any sessions or events license. And so I had been paying month to month for OSC, 20 something dollars a month. I went back and forth with them. In fact, Andy called me from the conference because apparently I was really annoying the support folks at Liminal because it didn't make sense to me that I would actually be saving money, but they said yes. So I purchased a 1-year Zoom sessions license for $100. I logged in to both of those accounts with the same, I associated the email that I wanted to for my account with the Zoom sessions license. I then logged into both of them with that email, and I have Pro on both of them for $100 a year. It's an unbelievable deal.
They're hoping that you'll buy the bigger license and start to use it more.
Absolutely. And I
Whatever.
would never tell anyone they shouldn't. I don't have a need for it right now, so I just wanted to put that out there. So Frank and
So
Grant.
David, if you need more than 50 attendees, can you like have a one-time payment, or how is this handled? Or do you
So-
need to?
Well, let me chime in on the pay per attendees. It is very peculiar how it works. It's a little bit different, and I can't say I'm the only person that understands it, but here's how it works. When you buy the pay per attendee license with 50 licenses, those expire in a year. And if you have a small session and 25 people attend, 25 is subtracted, you only have 25 left. If you have 10 more people, it brings you down to 15. But if you don't use those by the end of the year, they expire. And your permission to use Zoom events expires until you buy another license.
But here's the thing. Forgive me, the gods of Zoom. I don't use Zoom sessions or Zoom events.
Correct.
So I purchased the license. I associate my ZoomISO and ZoomOSC email with this license, and then I never touch Zoom sessions again. And I just use those Pro accounts.
And I've told many people this who've said, oh, Zoom events licenses, even the Zoom events license is at $125. It's too expensive for me to get in to learn about Zoom events. And I've said, just buy the $125 pay per attendee license and play with it for a year. That's pretty cheap. That's $10 a month. And if you don't like it after that, don't renew it.
Yeah. Frank,
And so
and
David,
then
just to, sorry, I didn't see the other ones. Just one thing. If you don't use this sessions account for anything else than getting an ISO or OSC Pro account, right? And then you join other meetings that you create with other accounts?
That's what
Only with the meetings that you host. The other thing is Production Studio comes along with that inside your webinars now. So if you wanted to use Production Studio inside webinars, and if you want to use Backstage in your webinars, all you need is one of these licenses. I may be incorrect about whether it actually works on the 100 license.
Sorry, Ray, that's been turned off now because I used to rely on it. So you don't
Oh,
get
okay.
you don't get Backstage unless you are using a sessions session.
Okay.
You can't get Backstage into Zoom webinar unless you're running it as a Zoom session and not as a webinar. That's the loophole that was
All right.
closed for me
Right.
this weekend.
Yeah.
Frank, did you want to jump in real quick?
I'm going to ask you next time. Grant probably has a better question. I just wanted to know how you physically connected your sessions license to ZoomOSC. But
So that was a big question for me because I also didn't get that. So wait, let me pull it up for you. Give me a moment. No, that's not what I want. I want this. Here it is. Okay. So over here in ZoomOSC under licensing, I had a license in here. This is actually the same one. I don't know why it's up here now, but I had the same license here. Let me actually open ISO. That'll be a better example, probably. ISO. But you have under licensing. Here's licensing.
David, sorry, should you show your license key?
Yeah, probably not. I'm not using it anymore, so it doesn't matter. It's deactivated.
Copy.
So this is usually there's a number here, right? So you can deactivate that, and then you literally just log in. Right now I happen to be logged in, right? So you log in with the same email, and it automatically recognizes it, and then what you'll see is ZoomISO Pro activated. That's it.
Thanks.
You just log in with the same email. Yeah, easy peasy. Grant.
So on that point then, David, you were then able to join another meeting from another account?
I'm in this meeting right now.
Yeah.
So I have a Zoom business account. I'm in this meeting right now from one account within my Zoom business. I'm also in this meeting from my OSC account from a different computer, and I'm doing all the I'm doing all the OSC controls right from here. It's not a sessions, so
Which is not a session, but the license you're using is from sessions.
it's because I purchased a sessions license. Those are now bundled in, and
And
you
the
don't have to
sessions-
be in a sessions to take advantage of them.
Is the sessions an add-on?
It's a Zoom
Is it-
event. It's a Zoom events thing.
So you'd have to have an account that you're paying for first before you could
You have to have
buy
a Zoom, right? You have to have a Zoom Pro or higher
Have to be
account.
licensed. Yes.
Right, you have to be licensed, and then you can buy a Zoom Sessions
Yeah,
license or
is an add-on. Yeah.
and then all you do is let me pull it up, events.zoom.us, and then
it's a bit of
in
a
the events
loophole,
portal.
really.
I'm sorry.
It's a loophole, really, at the moment.
It
that we're
is,
talking
but it's a
about.
kosher
Yeah.
loophole.
Right.
Because I wrote to Andy and I said, you realize that like I'm saving money here. I was giving you more money before, and he said, no, yeah, that's a perk of this. So once you set up your account, then you create a hub for which is right here. So my hub. You create a hub, and then you just associate. You have to go into your Zoom account and say, I want this. If you have multiple accounts, I want this account to own this hub. Once you do that, it's associated.
So I'm really interested about where things go as far as like Zoom Rooms Pro AV, because in my mind that kind of supersedes ISO, and I wonder if this is part of a transition into that. Like it's kind of because I think that most of the functionality, if not all of it, of ISO will be in Pro AV, and I imagine it'll be an add-on specifically to use Pro AV will be an add-on, and this might be kind of the transition into that.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything. I'm just wondering as kind of liminal gets swallowed. I wonder if that's what will happen. But then they came out with tiles as a whole new liminal
swallowed
product.
it in the best way possible. Swallowed
Totally.
is not
Yeah. No, I didn't mean that in a bad way. Not at all.
I'm very excited to play with tiles once the beta comes out.
Yeah,
Very
that looks
excited.
very cool. Yeah.
Just crazy. Tamara, you want to jump in and then Andre?
Yeah, I wanted to ask our Zoom sessions folks. So if I have a session for 100 and then I end up with 102, does it block people from coming in, or does it allow me to up purchase for those extra two people?
You have the option. You have three options really, Tamara. One is you can lock it at the number of licenses that you have, and keep in mind that these are only attendees. You can register 150 people. It's only people who
Right.
actually attend and go into the lobby. You can have it cut off at 100. The second is you can buy another 50 license or 100 anytime and add to it. And the third is to say, I will allow oversell, and Zoom will bill you after the fact for $2.50 a person over your license limit at the end of the month.
And what is does anybody know the 50, like if I buy it in 50 increments, is it?
50 is $2.50 a person. It's $125 for 50.
Got it.
And if you get
Thank you.
1,000, it's $1,850. It's $1.85 a person. My New Zealand event that I just wrapped at the end of March had 3,000. We bought 1,000 licenses in 3 increments.
Cool. All right. I love that. Thank you.
I kicked you off. Andre, I think you wanted to jump in. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, he did. Just to get it clear around the sessions and ISO license. So you can get this €100 50 attendees sessions license, but you can join with this associated ISO machine to any meeting and take advantage of the ISO capabilities, right?
That's exactly what I've done here.
Copy. Cool.
So
Thank you for
my
this tip.
my OSC or ISO machine, doesn't matter which one, just like I've always done, I just join any meeting I want, and because the license is associated with, because the license is through or associated with sessions, it just works. Which
My
again is just
accountancy will be happy.
insane to me. And what a gift. What a gift. All right, I have to start driving home. So Ray, it's all yours, my friend.
We'll see how long the crowd hangs in. So do we have any other questions? Anything else you burning? Yeah, I'm happy to hang here for as long as there's active chatter.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think of portrait lighting?
Of what?
Dun, dun, dun.
Portrait lighting, the new portrait lighting.
Within the client, I think Frank is talking.
Explain more.
So it's a new feature that dims your background. Really, what I think it's doing is it's drawing a key around you, and then it's fading out the background a little bit. It's dimming the background so you're more prominent.
Yeah.
So that's on, that's off, that's on, that's off. I don't know.
It's basically, in my view, it's a replacement of blur. It's just darken.
Yeah, I agree. What I noticed too, it's in your video settings. If you click on the caret next to video and you go into video, should be in there if it's turned on in your account.
I'll share my screen. I'll show it in Windows anyway.
Sure. Anyways, not the biggest thing in the world. I noticed a bit, the key kind of tears a little bit if you move your head around. Same way green screen without a green screen kind of tears a little bit.
Right. How much work do you want Zoom to do to make sure that you look perfect?
Yeah, well, you don't have to have a green screen. I mean, it can be any color if you use the color picker, but anyways.
Yeah.
It's
there's
not
lots,
bad. It doesn't force you into it like Google does.
There's a lot more in the update for 6. Probably we could talk about lots next Friday. There's also this weekend, Whiteboard's getting significant updates. You'll probably, I don't know if you subscribe. I subscribe to the alerts, so they'll probably be back-end maintenance alerts this weekend while they update.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of SSL cert updates over the last week.
Oh, for the portrait lighting, there are dependencies about very much like green screen. Your CPU, your video card, and all that sort of stuff have to meet the minimum requirements. So if you've got an older computer, you may not be able to take advantage of it. And it also it'll cap your video from 1080p. What it says is when using portrait lighting, your outgoing video resolution is capped at 720p. In order to achieve 1080p when using portrait lighting, you must meet the HD video guidelines and follow system requirements. So, Intel processor 6 cores or higher, or Apple M series or higher. I know a lot of people complain that blur background and things don't work for them, and it's usually because they don't understand their architecture of their CPU and how many cores it has.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll shut up if there's other comments. There's new stuff for profile cards, if that excites anyone.
Anything for anybody? I'm going to take a couple of minutes here just to talk about Z-Span again. I talked about it back in March, and basically I'm gathering up people who do Zoom events production primarily, but also Zoom webinar production, sort of on a professional basis. And the idea is to sort of have a co-marketing group that we can attract clients from far and wide that come to Z-Span, have a 30-minute conversation with me so that I can determine what their needs are. And then out of the people who have decided to be a part of Z-Span, I'll pick the most appropriate person. I've talked to a few of my Z-Span members who've said, that prevents someone from just kind of looking at the list and going, well, you're $30 and the other person is $35. I'll go with the $30 person because they're cheaper. And then you end up getting all the people who still don't want to pay. I'll do a little bit of that triage in advance. We're talking with some folks in Zoom about finding ways to sort of make us available through some official channels to Zoom events licensees who may go, gosh, I've got this license and I don't know what to do with it. Sort of make us, officially, out there by Zoom. That's still something that's kind of in the works. Yeah, so if you're interested, go to zspan.com and send me a note. Anything else? Going once, going twice.
Unusual for everybody to be so quiet.
Yeah, we've covered quite a few things, and in usual Zoom test kitchen fashion. So yeah. All right,
Yeah.
everybody. If there's nothing further and no objection, this meeting is adjourned. We'll see you again next week.